Hey everybody, Amanda here, CEO of Multitude, the podcast collective that this incredible show is a part of. And before we get started today, I want to tell you about something new that we are doing here at Multitude happening right now. It's the Multi-Crew Drive. Now, Multitude exists because of the support of listeners like you. And the very best way of supporting Multitude is to join the Multi-Crew, a membership program that lets you, our listeners, help fund new work from Multitude and get exclusive perks. So between now and October 1st, we are running the Multi-Crew Drive. We will be highlighting the ways your support makes a difference and show off all the ways that we pay it back to you, our community. We are running a couple of very cool specials that are not going to happen any other time this year. If you join the Multi-Crew by October 1st, you can get a brand new This Mug Supports Conversational Podcasts That Bring People Together mug. Very, very cool. And if you are an annual member at any level on October 1st, you will get your names inscribed forever on the We Put 2023 on Our Back plaque, which we will look at every day in the Multitude office. Some very cool stuff. Check it all out at multicrew.club. To learn more about the Multi-Crew Drive, stick around for the mid-roll in this episode where your host will tell you all of the best ways that you can join, or visit multicrew.club to learn more about the drive. All right, let's get the show started.
Welcome to Pale Blue Pod, the astronomy podcast for people who are overwhelmed by the universe, but do want to be its friend.
Hey, that's us. And me, hello, I'm Dr. Moiya McTier. I remember how to talk. I'm an astronomer and less of an astronomer because I don't like stargaze. I'm an astrophysicist, which is not better, it's just different. And I'm a folklorist and I am a friend to the universe.
You are, and I am Corinne Caputo, a writer and a friend to the universe. I was like, there's other things about me, but...
You're funny. You're a funny person.
You
make me laugh.
Just feel like I do a lot of little things, and you can't pin me down.
Good. You contain multitudes. You're just a fascinating, complex specimen, Corinne.
Exactly. And I learned a lot about who I am, maybe, in high school, which is why we're here, in this place. We are still in New Mexico, as we were last week, and we are in the fictional high school from Breaking Bad.
Yay! This is where we tell you, fellow friends to the universe, that our teleport machine, it also has a fiction lever.
Yes.
So we can go to any fictional universe we want.
We haven't used it yet because we really wanted to see what we could do in the real world. So I'm really excited to dip our toes into TV.
Yeah, into TV. Can you paint a little picture, paint a little word scene for us? What's it like around?
What's exciting about this school is that it really is a regular high school, and their school is in session. You'll hear people maybe scuffling by, the classic bell telling you to go to class, some papers. It's just I love being in school.
Yes, as someone who did school for, 21 years?
Yeah.
I like school. It is weird that it's September and I am not going back to school.
I feel that way too, and I haven't been in school in a while. I mean, the Space Center was on a school calendar, but September feels like a new year, and the year begins in September and ends around June, and July and August don't count.
No.
And that's what a year should be.
Yeah. There used to be a calendar where the last 5 days of the year didn't count. They were just like non-existent party days that weren't added to the calendar. And I think let's take that, run with it, and just make July and August not real times.
We all should get to take off and get paid for it.
Yes. You want to know the other great thing about being in a fictional high school to record this episode?
What?
fictional high schools don't give out like homework or have exams, really.
They don't.
And so all we are experiencing right now is the comfort and the nostalgia of the back to school season. The air is a little bit crisper.
Yes.
People have a little bit more like purpose in their strides, but none of the stress of actually going back to school to start another year.
Right. And it's a perfect weather day too, so we look exactly the way we want, which is so rare for going to high school.
Yes. Yeah. Truly the perfect day. And on this perfect day, we are going to be discussing what might be a kind of perfect telescope observatory. We are discussing the Very Large Array.
The Very Large Array. Such a good name.
It's very large. It's very large. Can tell you. I think there's also going to be a very large telescope constructed in the next few years, like in the next decade. That is different. That is a different thing. The Very Large Array is an array of telescopes working together, which we have not talked about yet. We haven't had a whole episode devoted to something like that. So before we get into talking about the VLA itself, I need to talk about interferometry. Have you heard this word, Corinne?
I don't think I have. I mean, it sounds like other words, so I'm it's ringing a bell, but I don't actually know if I know what it is.
It does sound like other words, because interferometry is the measurement of interference patterns of waves, specifically waves of light in the context of astronomy. Interferometry. Yeah. So interferometry is when you have multiple telescopes working together as one, and it's a beautiful cohesion of machinery, and I love it.
I love that.
So when you're talking about telescopes, when you're doing an observation in the sky, you want to be able to see what you're observing, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, usually.
And in order to see what you are observing, you need a good enough, what we call, angular resolution. I think I have talked about angular resolution before. I know I have talked about angular size before. We've talked about that magic. Angular resolution is like how close can two things be before they appear to be one blob.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the angle that is resolved is the distance between them, and you want a very small angular resolution because it lets you distinguish smaller distances.
Okay, sure, yeah. That's when I'm wearing my contacts and when I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. If you are not wearing your contacts and you happen to be nearsighted, two boulders 50 yards away might just look like one boulder. But if you had better angular resolution, once you put in your contacts or on your glasses, then you can resolve those two boulders.
Yeah, cool.
There is an equation for how to measure the angular resolution of your telescope, and it's a very simple one. It is the wavelength that you're observing in over the diameter, or the collecting diameter of your telescope. So it's lambda, which is the Greek letter that astronomers use to indicate a wavelength of light, and then d. So you either want a small wavelength, a small lambda, or you want a really big d in astronomy. It's just math. It's just math.
It's just math.
This is science, people. The VLA is a radio array. It's a radio interferometer. And because radio wavelengths are so much bigger than other wavelengths, it's the biggest waves on the electromagnetic spectrum, you need a very large diameter of a telescope to even collect these waves. We've tried it with single dish telescopes, like the giant 100-meter Green Bank telescope that has a giant collecting area, but sometimes we want even better angular resolution than that. So we need an even bigger telescope, but that's like not possible to make a bigger one-dish telescope that you can still move around. So we split it up into multiples, and then we got to use interferometry. So I'm finally getting into it. You take multiple telescopes and you get them to work together as one by combining the light signals that each of those telescopes get. There's a lot of fancy math that goes into this. If you've ever heard of Fourier transforms, they use a lot of those in interferometry. But it really is as simple as taking the signal from multiple telescopes and laying those signals over each other to get what looks like a stronger, more exaggerated signal. This data does need to be processed a little bit differently from single dish telescope data. The telescopes themselves, it actually records the phases of the light waves instead of like the amplitude of the light wave. So you have to convert those phases to physical size and light amplitude measurements. Those are what we're more familiar with in our data science. And so you use fancy tools like actual machinery called an interferometer, something called a phase correlator. You use these extra tools to make it possible for you to overlap those signals. And you use fancy math to turn those signals into the measurements that we're more used to. This whole technique of interferometry was developed in the 1920s, originally for optical observations, but then they realized that it's much more useful for radio observations because radio waves are just really freaking big, and you can make a big enough optical telescope to look at optical wavelengths. But when you have an interferometer, you have like an array of dishes working together, so like 5 different dishes. And it's not that all 5 of those dishes make one big telescope that is the size of all 5 together. It's actually that each pair of telescopes in an interferometer acts as one telescope. So if you have 2 telescopes together, then you have one bigger telescope that is the size of the distance between the 2. If you have 3 telescopes, then you have 3 different pairs. So essentially 3 telescopes of different sizes. If you have 5 dishes, then that gives you 10 different pairs. 10 dishes gives you 45 different pairs. So you can see how having more dishes gives you a lot more pairs to work with. And you want all of those pairs to be different distances from each other, because each of those separations, each of those distances is keyed into a different phase of the light wave. So if you have multiple baselines, then you can fill in what astronomers call phase space when you're actually analyzing the interferometry data. So basically what I'm saying here is you need to have lots of different telescope pairs that are arranged so that one pair is 2 meters separated and another is 3 and another is 4, and that way you're covering all of your bases.
Yeah, like a complete picture.
Yeah, it gives you a complete picture, exactly. So you can have a really long baseline that gives you great angular resolution, but because that baseline is so long, you're missing a lot of information in phase space. So you are less sensitive to the color or the brightness or more superficial details about your target. But you will be able to see the target.
Yeah.
Just not what it looks like, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they're working in phase space and not physical space. So you get different information. That's interferometry. We are probably going to cover several different interferometry observatories because there are a lot of them and they're really cool. But most of them are radio observatories. So let's just start with the most famous radio observatory, the VLA.
Love it.
I just realized that of the 3 observatory episodes we've done, 2 of them have been radio, and I'm really showing my bias here, aren't I?
A little bit.
A little bit. Oops. Well, let's get into the history of the VLA. You might recall that radio astronomy really took off in the 1930s with Carl Jansky, and that I think it's Grote Reber, that 20-something-year-old who built the telescope in his backyard. Do you remember that from our Green Bank episode? Yeah, so that's in the 1930s. And then they founded NRAO, the National Radio Astronomy Observatory, in the 1950s, essentially so that they could have this group that was in charge of building the Green Bank Observatory. Which broke ground in 1956 or whatever. But then the radio astronomy community was well, we want more than just the Green Bank Observatory. And so there was this scientist, David Heasham, who was the director of NRAO from 1961 to 1978. And he really wanted an array of multiple dishes and an interferometer that could complement the work done by the single-dish telescopes at Green Bank. And he gathered a lot of support from the radio astronomy community. They appealed Congress for funding, and they were granted funding for the VLA in 1972 after they had put together designs of the observatory and predicted how it would run and what types of discoveries it might make. So they get funding in 1972, and they break ground in, I think, April of 1973, so very, very soon after. The first antenna was placed, the first dish was placed in September of 1975, and the whole observatory was formally dedicated in 1980. And then in 2012, it was renamed from the Very Large Array to the Carl Jansky Very Large Array, after the father of radio astronomy. All told, in all of the building and purchasing the land, the VLA cost $78 million of 1972 money to make.
Yeah.
In today's money, that's about $530 million.
Wow, that is telling me that inflation is insane. And also, that is so much money.
It is a lot of money, but when you think about everything that went into that, they bought the land, they built all of the dishes, they built all of the buildings on the site so that they could house astronomers, so that they could have a visitor center, so that they could have a place for the receivers to sit. This is the maintenance cost for a couple of years. It's a lot, but
you get
it's
a lot.
way less than JWST cost. That was what, multiple billions of dollars?
Was it really?
Yeah, let me just do a quick Google.
I don't even know.
JWST cost $10 billion of today money. So
that is so impossible to imagine.
Yeah. So
and I just need $1 million. All I need is $1 million, and I'm fine.
You're fine.
I mean, I'll take as much as they're willing to give.
You will take 1/500th of a VLA, please.
I would take $10,000.
Yeah, for real. Let's talk about the VLA, its specs. Let's talk some numbies. First of all, where is it?
Yeah.
Where is the VLA? Why are we on this tour of New Mexico?
Exactly.
It's because the VLA is located in the plains of San Agustin, which is a flat stretch of empty desert around 50 miles or 80 kilometers northwest of Socorro, New Mexico. And that's where their research headquarters are, right off the campus of New Mexico Tech. And the reason I know this is because I have been there. I have been to Socorro several times. I have been to the VLA a couple of times. I have walked on one of these telescopes. Yes, I will send you a picture after this, Corinne.
Yes.
But it's this tiny, tiny little town in New Mexico, and 50 miles outside of that. And it has to be so secluded because you want to be far away from any sort of radio emission. Remember the radio quiet zone that we talked about? Yeah.
Oh, actually, speaking of that was in an episode of How To with John Wilson. I don't know if you watched that on HBO. It's an incredible show, but it's kind of documentary style. He captures all these interesting tidbits in New York, just like a rat eating pizza, essentially. It's it is an impossible to describe show, but he finds himself among a community of people who live near these places because they think that they are very sensitive to radio waves, and whether or not
their human bodies are very sensitive to it.
Yes, they think they're highly sensitive people, and it was just a fascinating interview with these people, and I was turning to my husband and I was like, Moiya and I talked about this area.
Yeah, we did. So anywhere that radio astronomy is done, you want to be shielded from the radio waves, but not everywhere can be a radio quiet zone designated by the federal government.
Exactly.
So instead, we move out west where people just settled really far apart from each other. So it's in this desert region far away from any city. It's specifically in a desert because humidity can mess with radio waves. The water molecules in our atmosphere emit at radio frequencies. So you can't do radio research in the same part of the electromagnetic spectrum as the water molecule unless you're in a very dry place on Earth.
Oh, wow.
And the plains themselves are surrounded by this ring of mountains that provide a physical rocky barrier to at least dampen some of the radio noise from the cities that are already like over 100 miles away.
Yeah. Somebody was the location scout for this.
Yes.
And they did a good job.
Yes, they did. Just going out to the middle of the desert
Like,
where
is this
there's
dry
nothing.
enough? Are we protected enough? Yeah.
When you drive out to the VLA, so you fly into Albuquerque, New Mexico, and then you drive over an hour to Socorro, New Mexico, and then you drive another hour out to the VLA, and it's just like nothing around. So yeah, that scout did great work.
That is my nightmare post-flight, to then have like a 2-hour road trip ahead of me. No.
Yeah, that's what getting to the VLA is like.
Yeah.
You really need a car out there. There are 27 dishes in the VLA. It is an array of 27 different dishes, and they all look like, I'm saying it's a dish because it looks like a satellite dish, but grown up. You know, there are 27 plus a spare. They are arranged in a Y shape. There are 9 dishes in each arm, so it's just like, it looks like a little peace sign, but without the circle around it. The dishes are all on tracks, so they can be moved, expanding or shrinking that Y shape. And over the course of like 16 months, because it's every 4 months that they do it, they will shift to a different configuration of the dishes. So over the course of 16 months, it'll go from the very compact configuration, which is called the D configuration, and that is a diameter, like the circle around the peace sign diameter would then be about 2/3 of a mile. Okay. And then the most extended configuration is called A configuration, and that radius is about 23 miles.
Wow, that's a very big difference.
It's a huge difference, yeah. The bigger configuration provides better angular resolution, but less coverage in phase space because the dishes are more spread out, so you are less sensitive to, like I said before, the brightness profile of whatever you're observing. Each individual dish is 25 meters in diameter. They are big boys.
Yeah.
And they weigh 230 tons.
Yeah, they are huge.
They have to be transported with a very special transporter truck that just moves so slowly. I put a video of a transporter moving a dish in this week's research notes for patrons, and you can see it like a forklift, you know, it like scoots under. Well, usually these dishes are on like a very deep foundation of concrete, but they can be raised and lowered on the rails. So they raise them up so that the transporter can like scoot under them, and then it just crawls forward very slowly so that it doesn't damage the telescope. It's really cool, but it does take a while to move all of them.
Wow.
Each of the dishes is connected to a receiver that is sensitive to a range of light between 1 gigahertz and 50 gigahertz. So 1 gigahertz is about 30 centimeters, and then 50 gigahertz is 0.6 centimeters. So that's the range of wavelengths that the VLA can observe. In June of this year, in June of 2023, NRAO officially announced publicly that it's going to update the VLA. So this is a good time for us to make this episode. And it's going to build the next generation VLA, or NGVLA. This was not a surprise to the astronomy community. Radio astronomers have been talking about updating the VLA, specifically into this configuration, for 8 years, since 2015. And I spoke at a conference in September of 2022. The whole conference was about the next generation VLA and the surveys, the all-sky survey that they plan to do with the NGVLA. So this is not new, but it was just like formally announced. The NGVLA is going to replace the 27 dishes that are currently there with a core of 160 new dishes.
Wow.
From 27 to 160.
All right. Good luck.
It's a big jump. Good luck. But those dishes are all going to be smaller. Instead of 25 meters, they're going to be 18 meters across. And that's just the core, Corinne. There are an additional 84 dishes for a total of 244, spread throughout the entire country. There will be dishes in the following states/territories, unfortunately. Washington State, West Virginia, California, Iowa, New Hampshire, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and Canada will all have dishes that are part of the NGVLA.
Oh, wow.
All right, cool.
I do like the community aspect of space and space research, of like the countries are working together. We're all doing it together to learn about humans.
Yeah, especially interferometry, because for very long baseline interferometry, you have to put dishes like on different continents. So you end up with these really cool multinational collaborations, and that's beautiful. You're right. The whole update to NGVLA is expected to cost $2 billion just to build.
Okay.
Just to build, Corinne. And then $92 million a year to run and maintain.
Okay.
They will also have to increase the staff at the VLA from 150 people to about 400 people.
Wow.
It's going to really, increase the population of Socorro, New Mexico. Unless people are going to commute from Albuquerque, which would be, a pretty big commute.
Feels like a big drive, yeah.
Yeah. It should be ready by 2035. So in 12... I can do math. In 12 years, we will have this giant new next generation of the VLA telescope.
Cool. That's exciting. Hello, Corinne here. Moiya and I are so excited to be nearing our 50th episode, almost a whole year of Pale Blue Pod. So to celebrate, we're putting together a special AMA episode where we answer your burning questions about space, the universe, our relationship with it. And if you have a question, please email us at palebluepodcast@gmail.com or message us on Twitter or Instagram. Our handle for both is @palebluepod. We can't wait to hear from you. And next, let me say thank you to all of our amazing patrons who support the show every month. So thank you, as always, to our Sun-like stars, Sharon Llewellyn, Lissa, and Peyton. And a big welcome and thank you to our newest pre-main sequence stars, Kevin Browning and Nicole Bartlett, who's also one of our latest annual members. Welcome to the Stellar Club. You can support us, hear your name on this pod, make it to our patron star chart, all by supporting us on Patreon for just about $1 per episode. And if you sign up for an annual membership, you get 13% off, which is 1% for every constellation in the zodiac. So find the star chart, Patreon info, and more at our website, palebluepod.com, or go right to patreon.com/palebluepod. And if you can't support us financially, we love you. You are still space. You can support us by reviewing the show on whatever app you use or by sharing the show with your friends. We would love that. Pale Blue Pod is a proud part of Multitude Productions. Multitude exists because of the support of listeners like you. Right now is the Multi-Crew Drive, where we are highlighting the way that listeners like you support what we do at Multitude. From now until October 1st, we are trying to add 100 new and upgrading members to the Multi-Crew, which is our membership program that lets you help fund new work from Multitude and get exclusive perks. And now is the best time to join the Multi-Crew, especially for an annual plan. So not only do you get exclusive perks and 2 months free when you sign up for the year, but we're also giving out special benefits for anyone with an annual membership during the Multi-Crew Drive. Anyone who joins or upgrades by October 1st will get our brand new This Mug Supports Conversational Podcasts That Bring People Together mug. And anyone on an annual plan will be immortalized on our We Put 2023 on Our Back plaque. Plus, we're also donating a portion of any new revenue we raise this month to the North Brooklyn Angels, a local organization that provides free meals in our neighborhood. We'll be making a donation for every new or upgrading member during the drive. So what are you waiting for? Join the Multi-Crew by heading to multicrew.club to sign up for your annual membership before October 1st, 2023, and receive amazing perks plus our exclusive mug and be immortalized on our plaque. And there's only a little time left, so remember, sign up for an annual membership at multicrew.club and join the Multi-Crew. And finally, you can indulge in the timeless pleasure of assembling Ravensburger's extraordinary jigsaw puzzles. Ravensburger's premium quality puzzles are crafted with meticulous attention to detail, bringing you an unparalleled puzzle-solving experience. With a rich heritage dating back to 1883, Ravensburger puzzles have become an integral part of families' lives across generations. Share the joy of puzzling with family and friends, knowing that your cherished puzzles will stand the test of time. And regardless of your preference or skill level, there is a jigsaw puzzle for you. There's a wide range of imagery, themes, and piece counts available. You can start small and work your way up to over 40,000 pieces. If you're up for the challenge, and I know you are, Shop Ravensburger on Amazon today. Okay, back to the pod.
I imagine that once the next generation VLA is built, it will have a very similar, time proposal system. The system that lets you request time on the telescope probably isn't going to change very much.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the system that they currently have for the VLA. Mm-hmm. It's not a survey mission or observatory. Kepler or TESS, these are survey missions. They were launched with a plan for what they were going to observe, and you can't then request an observation on one of these missions. But you can request time on the VLA because that's what it is for. Anyone, regardless of nationality, can request time, and there are no special reserved blocks like the Hubble had. A certain percentage of Hubble time has to be given to European astronomers. There is no such rule for the VLA. Anyone can request it. And it's pretty easy to submit a proposal. The National Radio Astronomy Observatory has an online portal where you can submit your proposals. They tell you how the proposal needs to be formatted and what information needs to go in. And they even have a list of successful previous proposals that you can look at so that you get good examples to follow. The VLA only accepts proposals twice a year, so it's on a semester basis. So if you miss one, you have to wait a whole 6 months to propose again. But they do have some director discretionary time. So if there's something urgent coming up, you can appeal to the director of the VLA, and they might put your observation earlier in the queue. Mm-hmm. The VLA has a team of people who go through the proposals and decide who's going to get time. And then they have a team of people who schedule the accepted observations. And they make that decision based on the weather. If it's raining, then you're not going to do anything that requires you to look through weather clouds or whatever.
Yeah.
You might have, there are special types of projects I'm sure that they can do when the weather isn't ideal. Probably some sort of maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it would be based on weather, the target's position in the sky. If your target is only available in the northern summer months, then they are not going to schedule your proposal for December. What would be the point? And they also have to work around the director's discretionary observations.
Yeah.
There are data scientists who process and clean the raw data from the interferometer and then put it into a science-ready format. I've talked before about my friend, soon-to-be Dr. Tiara Candelaria. She was a grad student at New Mexico Tech, and now she is working as a data scientist at NRAO. So she processes this VLA data, and she's told me about how it works, and it seems so complicated and mysterious. They have these software pipelines that they will put the data through, but you have to, configure the pipeline so that it works with the type of data you're using.
Yeah.
It seems really hard. One of my least favorite parts of doing science was processing my data. And so I'm really grateful for these teams of data scientists who make it so that you don't have to do everything, all of the raw processing when you get an observation.
Yep, that's really helpful.
Thank you. Thank you so much, data scientists. Over the last 40 years, since the VLA was officially, opened up in 1980, it has been used by more than 5,000 scientists. It's done more than 14,000 observing projects, and as far as they can tell, more than 500 PhDs have been awarded based on research that was done with VLA data.
Wow.
Yeah, which is really impressive. There are around on the order of 10,000 PhD astronomers in the world. So.
Yeah.
So thanks to the VLA for 500 of those. Let's talk about some of the big findings.
Yes.
Some of the big science that it's done. In 1991, the VLA did radar observations of Mercury, and it revealed some very small, persistent bright spots of radio reflection. And they're like, oh, what are those? What could those bright spots be? They compared it to bright spots on Mars and some other hard bodies in the solar system, and they found that it is likely ice. Apparently, ice at relatively warm temperatures will absorb radio waves, but if you get ice cold enough, it reflects radio waves back to us. And so these bright spots were like pools of ice that had collected on the floors of deep craters at Mercury's poles, because even though Mercury is the closest planet to the sun and one of the hottest, though not the hottest, it has these craters that never get any sunlight. So they have a temperature of negative 235 degrees Fahrenheit, even though they're that close to the sun. And so ice forms there and stays there all the time.
Okay, cold. No thanks.
Very cold. Very cold. But very cool that the VLA found ice on our innermost planet.
Cool.
The VLA was also really important in like furthering our understanding of the supermassive black hole in our galaxy. It was used to study a region in the galactic center called Sagittarius A star that had been discovered at Green Bank, or like the region itself. People knew something was weird with it starting in like the maybe even 30s, but then at Green Bank they started focusing more and more and teasing out the layers of radiation in the galactic center. Wasn't until I think it was 2020 that the Nobel Prize was awarded for confirming that it is a black hole at the center of our galaxy. But they studied it with the VLA for a long time before they knew what Sag A star was. And because the VLA has really great angular resolution, they were able to like tease apart some of the objects in the galactic center.
Yeah.
And then it turned out to be a supermassive black hole. So yay. In 2007, they found a giant cold spot in the cosmic microwave background, which is the heat signature left over from the Big Bang. And they thought maybe it's cold because it's just a very empty region of space that this light is traveling through. And so they used the VLA to confirm that there weren't other stuff like galaxies in that space. And it seems like there weren't, although some studies from like the 2020s, so very recent studies, suggest that it's probably not as empty as we initially thought it was. So the big cold spot still remains kind of a mystery.
Yeah.
Which I love.
Oh, I'm so curious about that.
I know. I have a feeling that, we're preparing for some spooky season episodes.
I was going to say, I feel like this is going on the spooky list.
Yes. So we have an episode that's coming out like October 30th or something, and we wanted it to be about things that actually scare us in space, since this podcast is trying to make space less scary, but some things are actually terrifying, and I think that might be on the list. Like, what's there? What is happening?
Yeah, I have to agree.
Mm-hmm. So those are just some highlights of science discoveries that the VLA has made, but I'm even more excited about what it's going to do next with the NGVLA. The NGVLA has 5 different science goals that you can see laid out on its website, and they cover a bunch of different subfields of astronomy, from planets all the way up to cosmology and the expansion of the universe. So the first science mission that they list is that they want to study the formation of planetary systems with small rocky planets that are close to their stars. In other words, they want to study the formation of Earth analogs, things that look like our solar system and our planet in the solar system. Their second science goal is all about the chemistry of planets. So they want to study the astrochemistry of young planetary systems, kind of to see if they have the potential to host life. Like, do we see organic molecules? Do we see other chemicals and elements that could be the building blocks of life out there? Science goal number 3 is charting the assembly, so that like the formation and evolution of galaxies over the last 12 plus billion years, especially since JWST launched and found some really big galaxies closer to the beginning of the universe than we expected. Hopefully NGVLA will be able to tease out some of those mysteries and tell us how big were those early galaxies actually, and when do we think they formed, and what do they look like now? Maybe, like, can we find galaxies closer to us that seem like the end stages of galaxies like the ones we see closer to the Big Bang?
Cool.
Science goal number 4 is all about the formation and evolution of black holes, but especially binary systems of black holes that provide gravitational waves, because they're very interested in multi-messenger astronomy these days. So if you can see something with the NGVLA and LIGO or LISA, I think by the time the NGVLA is up and running, LISA, the interferometer in space, might be around, so they can work together to get really interesting results about black holes. And then the 5th science goal is to test general relativity. This is something that physicists and astronomers continue to do. We've been doing it for 100 years. So we're going to continue to test general relativity by studying pulsar arrays in the galactic center, because they will... We've talked in the gravitational wave episode about how pulsar arrays can tell us that a gravitational wave has passed through them because their timing, their periods get distorted when a wave passes. Yeah. Those are the science goals.
I love it.
Yeah, that's what it's going to do next. Hopefully, by 2040, we'll know a lot more.
Well, I can't wait.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Oh my God, by 2040... we'd be on episode 10,000.
Yeah, and it's probably not as far away as it feels.
No, it's very far. It's
2040.
very far away, Corinne. 17 years
Fine.
is 17 years far.
Okay.
I'll be 45.
17 years from now will be 884 episodes, assuming we never take a week off. Not including all the episodes we've already done.
Oh, so just 1,000?
So 930.
Really? Yeah, I was off before. My mental math was bad
it's
when I
a
said
ton
10,000.
of episodes. That means we've been
It's a lot of
podcasting for
episodes.
18 years.
Oh, Pale Blue Pod will be an adult. Pale Blue Pod can vote.
Such a grown-up, yet such a voter.
In 2040, Pale Blue Pod is voting. You heard it here.
You heard it here.
Okay, so that's what the VLA has done so far and what we expect it to do in the future. But there's another really cool aspect of the VLA that we have not yet touched on in this episode, Corinne. And that is that it is, I think, maybe the most famous ground-based observatory in the world, because it has been featured in a lot of TV shows, movies, video games. It's referenced often in pop culture. So I kind of wanted to play a game, Corinne, where I ask you to guess if this is a real pop culture reference to the VLA or not.
Oh my gosh. I wonder if I'm going to know it.
I wonder if you will. Just a little behind-the-scenes admission here. Corinne and I both work from Notes, and I have the answers here hidden in white ink so that I can highlight it and see the answers, but you can't see it, Corinne. This is my new trick.
Oh my God, that's such a good trick.
So don't highlight it in the notes is what I'm saying.
I won't even look at it. I won't even look at the doc.
Okay, great. I always try to be so sneaky.
That's a good thing. That's
games.
a good sneaky move.
Thank you. It's from back in my college essay writing days where if you needed to meet a word minimum, you would add
Hide
stuff.
words, yes.
Hide words. You would make the period seem a little bigger so that you meet the page minimum.
Oh, yes. If you change the periods to a size 13, suddenly you got a page and a half.
Yes, that's the move. Any high school or college students listening,
Little hack.
Here you
Hey,
go.
we're in the high school. This is where you leave those tips. We have to share knowledge. Generational knowledge.
Generational knowledge, yes. The valuable information passed from one generation to the next. Okay, so I have 5 different pop culture references here for you. The first, tell me if this is true or not. Terminator used the VLA as a Skynet operations facility.
I think that's true.
Are you remembering this or are you guessing
I've
this?
seen the Terminator. My mom loves the Terminator. And I've watched it a few times, though I could not tell you what the story is. But I'm kind of picturing a 80s style video, grainy footage over a picture of the VLA.
Nice. I have not seen this movie. This is from the 2009... it's true. You are correct.
Okay.
It's from the 2009 movie Terminator Salvation.
Oh, okay. Of course. It's the modern one.
Yeah. I've never seen it, but they did actually use the VLA as a Skynet facility.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how that happened. It must have just been an establishing shot and then a set.
I guess so.
They probably didn't use film
no.
on set. Okay.
They did not film at the VLA.
Yeah.
I didn't say this before, but I will mention it now. You, as like a normal person, can go visit the VLA. They offer tours.
Cool.
They have a visitor center. They have a cute gift shop. Some signed
fun.
copies of my book were there at some point. I know a lot of the people who work at NRAO and the VLA, and the person who runs the visitor center and all of the tours and everything at the VLA, her name is Summer Ash, and she is incredible. She was the inspiration for most of my space-based fashion choices.
I love it.
I love Summer Ash so much.
I think Summer did my show once.
Probably. Yeah, she was the outreach coordinator at Columbia before she moved to the VLA.
Yes. Especially, I'm thinking specifically of fashion.
She also, Summer Ash and Emily Rice together started Startorialist, which is the space fashion blog. So Summer Ash is a great person to know about in terms of cool astronomy people.
Yes. Emily,
definitely go visit the VLA.
Emily did the show first and introduced me to Summer.
Yes, I love how small this world is.
I know. Well, that's I was at the bottom of the barrel of who else could do astronaut training.
Excuse me, are you calling Emily Rice and Summer Ash the bottom of the
No, but I was
barrel?
suddenly there's no one left to cold call because I've reached out to the whole community.
Fair, it's small, yeah. All right, great job. You got one right. On to question number 2. The VLA was referenced in a Dave Matthews Band record cover. True or false?
I feel like no. I don't know much about the Dave Matthews Band. In fact, twice this year, I have asked my husband who the lead singer of the Dave Matthews Band is, and he's like, it's Dave Matthews. What are you on? You would have rocked my world, Corinne, if it wasn't Dave Matthews. I was literally thinking of Matchbox 20. I don't know why Dave Matthews Band came out of my mouth, but he was like, it's Dave Matthews. Because I would never name a band after me,
Right. Well, a lot of them are really self-centered.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm going to be laughing at the...
And I've asked that twice. Did not retain it the first time.
Remember at the beginning of this episode when you forgot you were a funny person and now I'm literally crying laughing?
Yeah, and you know what? I think my memory, it's not so good anymore.
Time does that. But you were incorrect.
It has happened.
It was indeed a real reference in the 1995 single Satellite by the Dave Matthews Band. The cover
of course, Satellite
features 3 dishes from the VLA.
But, okay. All right.
The only Dave Matthews song that I can name is Crash Into Me. Because it was featured in an episode of the original Roswell, which I watched at a very formative time in my teenagehood. And
Crash Into Me. Yes.
Crash Into Me, yeah.
I think I know the exact moment you're talking about.
Yes. At their festival or whatever.
Yes. Oh, I miss TV like that.
I know. I miss angsty teen TV. And I know I can still watch it, but it is not the same when you yourself are not an angsty teen.
Yes. Although I did watch The Summer I Turned Pretty this past summer, and I was like a teenager all over again.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to bed in love with this guy.
Oh, some art is so good that it can really take you back.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't even know if it's good. but it took me back.
It's subjective. It is in the eye of the beholder, Corinne.
It's so true. I loved every second of that show.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you're 1 for 2. Let's move on to number 3. Is this a real pop culture reference or not? The VLA was toured by the main characters in the TV show The Big Bang Theory.
Yes?
No.
Well, I'm just thinking okay, here's why it is no. Even
Here's
though I
why
said
the
yes.
answer is what it is,
Here's
Moiya.
why the answer is the opposite of what I said. Because they shoot The Big Bang Theory on a soundstage. So it's unusual to have scenes take place in locations that aren't the core locations.
Oh, yeah, because it's like a small-ish production sitcom.
Yeah, of course, that happens in Friends all the time, where they're go to their office or do whatever. But typically, the scenes happen in the apartment, in the coffee shop, in whatever.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay, well. You were a little late to it, but I'll give you the points
there in the end.
because you showed your work after I told you the answer, and the work was great.
If only that was the secret to all tests.
I feel like I have had professors in the past who were kind of like that. Not necessarily on a test, but for homework.
A teacher who's like, yeah, they're like, you want to learn this.
Yeah.
And you're showing me that you can.
That's a good teacher. So I'm giving you that one. You're 2 for 3. Number 4. The VLA was mentioned as an ancient ruin in N.K. Jemisin's Broken Earth trilogy. Is that true or false?
I've never heard of this trilogy.
What?
Googling it right now.
Oh, no. I think this is the strongest reaction I've ever had to you not knowing something. N.K. Jemisin, an absolute treasure, a global treasure of a storyteller, like an expert world builder, and I talk about the Broken Earth trilogy in every world building session that I do. Pretty much. Putting it in the
online cart?
It was the first trilogy, the first science fiction trilogy where every book in the trilogy won a Hugo Award.
That's very cool.
I
love
love Black
that.
woman.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to say true.
This is false. It was not used.
But I do love the idea of the world has changed so much where now this is like archaic and
I mean, that's the whole point of the Broken Earth trilogy. I'm not going to ruin it too much for you, but it's Earth in several thousand years once after something drastic has happened, and now the society is dealing with it. I recommend. It's really, it took me like 3 months to read the first book because I kept putting it down because it's very intense.
Yes,
emotionally. So that's a warning for anyone out there.
And that's how I felt about Breaking Bad, which is why we're in the high school right now.
That's why we're here. But only cozy. But
in the coziest room. We're in the English department or like...
We're in the art room.
Yes.
Okay, number 5. Are you ready? The VLA was the site of a capital settlement in the Horizon Forbidden West video game.
Another thing I've never heard of.
Me neither. I'm going off the Wikipedia article.
So then, yes, it's true.
Well,
that would be actually so funny if you made up a video game.
No, okay, so the Wikipedia article for the VLA has a list of pop culture references, so I was pulling from that list. You're right, it is true. I've never played this video game either. The Utaru tribe's capital of Plainsong is built amongst the ruins of the centralized cluster of dishes in the array, and then the rest of it has been turned into like farmland or whatever.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Love it.
And then a secret sixth one. A sixth
one.
Question. Corinne, this is very important. The listeners need to know. This is important for next week's episode.
Oh.
True or false? The VLA is featured in the movie Contact.
Yes!
Based on... Oh, you didn't even let me finish the question.
I'm too excited.
It's too excited. Yes, it is. And hint, listeners, we are going to be talking about the movie Contact next week. So if you can, please watch it between now and then. But we're also going to give a little synopsis, a little summary of the movie. And if you don't care about spoilers, you can just wait for that.
Yes. Oh, I can't wait.
It's so exciting. So I think that once we've talked about Contact and Carl Sagan and the VLA, like that feels like a very nice trifecta.
That's the trilogy.
For some reason. That's the trilogy.
That's our trilogy.
Still not as good as N.K. Jemisin, but you know what? We aspire.
We'll try.
We dream.
We might have 17 years of this ahead of us.
It's enough time to practice.
Yep. Okay, listeners. Well, wherever you are, I hope you are in the coziest spot. And remember that you are space.
Yeah, you are. Pale Blue Pod was created by Moiya McTier and Corinne Caputo with help from the Multitude Productions team. Our theme music is by Evan Johnston, and our cover art is by Shay McMullen. Our audio editing is handled by the incomparable Misha Stanton.
Stay in touch with us and the universe by following @PaleBluePod on Twitter and Instagram, or check out our website, palebluepod.com. We're a member of Multitude, an independent podcast collective and production studio. If you like Pale Blue Pod, you will love the other shows that live on our website at multitude.productions.
If you want to support Pale Blue Pod financially, join our community over at patreon.com/palebluepod. For just about $1 per episode, you get a shout out on one of our shows and access to director's commentary for each episode. The very best way, though, to help Pale Blue Pod grow is to share it with your friends. So send this episode, this link, to one person who you think will like it, and we will appreciate you for forever.
Thanks for listening to Pale Blue Pod. You'll hear us again next week.
Bye.